The worst thing about being a kid is you don't have any money, so you can't afford anything that you want. So what do you do when you grow up? You start to earn money and you go back and buy all the useless things that you wanted when you were a kid that you couldn't afford. At least that's what I do. And in 2006, I was too young, I couldn't work, I had no money, and LeBron came out with a shoe that... no words. Back then, I craved that shoe. I needed that shoe. I wanted that shoe, but I never got it. But this year, Nike is allowing me so graciously to reclaim part of that lost childhood, part of that lost dream that I could never ever fulfill, or I thought I could never fulfill until now. LeBron 4 Graffiti. Now this shoe originally dropped in 2006. It was a very, very limited release, like 300 or 250 pairs of it. And it was released at a pop-up store in New York City. So there's some ties to New York on this shoe. And that was before like sneakers was a thing. So you had to be there to actually get a pair of the shoe. At the time, it was like you either Team Kobe or Team LeBron. People were arguing who was the best player in the NBA. I was always Team Kobe, love Kobe Bryant. So I was kind of anti-LeBron. So I never really wanted his shoes, even if they were nice ones. Like the LeBron 2s I think were pretty nice. The LeBron Soldiers. Even the 25 5s to play bowling outdoors, that was pretty nice. When this thing dropped, I couldn't deny it. I wanted these bad. Now the shoe is dropping on September 19th for a hefty price of $240. It is the same price as a lot of general release Foamposites because it uses the same materials. And they brought back a similar look to this graffiti upper sole before, very recently in 2017 on the LeBron 17s. However, that shoe, it just doesn't hit the same way this shoe does. And the upper sole of the LeBron 4 comes in that Foamposite material. And LeBron, he was always a big fan of Foamposites. And if you didn't know, Foamposites are made by heating up polyurethane to around 175 degrees Fahrenheit. And it's poured into this very expensive mold. And when it cools, it forms the shape. So that's why the Foamposites, or the shoe, are very expensive. Because that mold itself, very, very pricey. Now usually the Nike Air Foamposite ones that most people are familiar with, that comes in a slightly different shape. That shoe is inspired by beetles. So the upper sole of that shoe, the pattern, that is supposed to resemble a beetle shell. You don't see that happening here, but to the touch and the way the shoe is constructed, it's made from the same process. And I really, really like Foamposites. It's made to be super, super durable. So even though this shoe is super pricey, it does last a very long time. It's like indestructible. And of course the most distinct thing about the shoe, apart from the shape of the shoe, is the graffiti. And this shoe doesn't come with a traditional midsole. So this graffiti wrap is actually made out of Phylon. I believe it's Phylon. If it's not, it's EVA, but I believe it's Phylon. And you can see that very, very cool graffiti pattern. My favorite thing about this shoe, might be kind of outdated in 2023, but back then, this was so cool. And it has the words that I can make out anyway. The words witness, the game, fearless. Very, very, very cool. My favorite, easily my favorite part about this shoe. And also on the upper sole, it comes with this black strap with the LeBron logo in the middle. And that is the original LeBron logo. So when he first joined the NBA and he signed with Nike, that was his first logo. You can see his initials in the number 23 and that little crown on the bottom left. Now they had to change the LeBron logo when he went to Miami because his number changed. And they also found this logo to be kind of hard to put onto shoes. I actually do prefer this original LeBron logo. I always thought it was super innovative and it's super unique, super creative, but they had to change it. And this LeBron logo in the middle, made out of plastic, kind of cheap feeling. And the strap itself, as well as the ankle collar, it is made out of nubuck, and I feel like it is Durabuck, so synthetic nubuck. So it's not the best materials there. And at the very end of the Velcro strap, you'll see 4 dots. I don't know if it's because it's LeBron 4. And when you open up this Velcro strap, you can see a lion, this LeBron Lion logo, and also his last name, James, on the bottom of that tag. And speaking of the tongue, you can see the words, "You haven't made it until you make it in NYC." And then the date, November 13th, 2006. And obviously this shoe originally, this was released in New York City. It was a pop-up store in New York City. It was limited to like 300 pairs, like I mentioned in the intro of the video. And around this time, this was when like LeBron going to New York eventually was becoming a thing. Obviously he never went there, but this would have been even more significant if he did. Also on the ankle collar, I think a very cool look about this shoe is that swoosh. That smaller swoosh on the back of the ankle collar, and on the other side you see another swoosh that's imprinted into the upper sole. I just love that. It's so subtle, but it's there that you notice it. Yeah, the more I look at this shoe, the better it looks. In the traction of the shoe, majority herringbone, and you'll see the flex grooves, and it is a rubber outsole around the herringbone. It's got that kind of semi-translucent red outsole. Really like how this looks. I've never actually played in a pair of LeBron 4s before. Even if I could have afforded it back then, I probably wouldn't have chosen a LeBron 4. It's just such a big, clunky, heavy shoe. However, this traction, I feel like it still holds up. And you'll see strips of carbon fiber. So it's not actually a full-length carbon fiber plate. It's like strips where the grooves are. I love carbon fiber in shoes. Super strong support, super lightweight. Best of both worlds. And you'll see the number 23 at the very bottom. As well, again, LeBron's logo around the side of the outsole. And a lot of the magic happens on the insole because this shoe doesn't have like a traditional midsole. Zoom Air directly in the insole. Very well done. I really like the cushioning on the shoe. Now moving on to the inside of the shoe, there's like a cup, an inner mesh cup that actually kind of makes the shoe more snug than it might look. And on the booty of the shoe, very unique and great looking booty. Very subtly you see the words believe that actually extends all the way down to the outsole. Very subtle, but when you see it, just love these little details on shoes. Now generally I'm not a huge fan of like pull tabs on shoes, but as you get older, I actually noticed this very recently, like this week. I'm starting to use these pull tabs when I need. Like I feel like it gives me some balance when I bend down. That's when you know you're getting old, when you rely on pull tabs on shoes. Now this shoe doesn't come with any extra laces, not too surprised. But even if it did, these straps that go along the upper sole, you actually can't remove them. So if your laces break, and it does break, not specifically these laces, but laces do break. If it does, and it just makes it hard to get to. And the box of the shoe, an all black box, and if you notice this wavy pattern on the lid of the box, it resembles the pattern of that graffiti wrap, and it's one of those boxes that you like pull out. Now moving on to size and comfort, I'm a size 9.5, true to size. I do have wide feet. For the shoe, I went true to size. And I gotta say, it's a very snug shoe. Now because it is made out of Foamposite materials, I will give it time to break in. Foamposites are pretty notorious for needing a long break-in period. But this shoe, with that material, that super durable Foamposite material, as well as the inner cup that you see on the inside of the shoe, it's a very snug shoe. It is tight. Especially around the toe box, it's hugging them. It's hugging my toes. It is very tight. I will say, apart from like the snugness and the tightness, it's very comfortable. Like the way it just hugs around your feet, the materials that's used, super soft around your feet, the cushioning, really nice. Everything about this shoe comfort-wise I love. Apart from that initial tightness, which I think will give in once I break the shoe in a bit, it's very comfortable. However, the one flaw of the shoe, the one weakness of the shoe in terms of comfort, it is the weight of the shoe. This thing could hurt people. Like if you threw this at somebody and it hit, yeah, I think it'll injure someone. It's a heavy shoe. And that's why I never would even consider to play in these. Honestly, this shoe was designed for LeBron. Only someone like him could wear these clunkers on feet and still be that fast, that athletic. It's crazy. So if you don't have wide feet, I do recommend sticking true to size. If you do have wide feet, I don't think you can go wrong. If you just go true to size with wide feet, maybe expect a longer break-in period, stick through it. But if you go up half a size, I don't really think that's a mistake either because it is very tight initially. And that brings the total sole score to 19 out of 25 for the LeBron 4 Graffiti. One of the highest scores for general releases, and it makes sense. Colorway wise, this is just, in my opinion, this is probably just me, but I think this is a flawless colorway. Red, black, white, with that graffiti pattern. I know in 2023, might be a little outdated, but for me, don't care, still love it. I love the colors of the shoe. In terms of materials, I love the Foamposite material, so I like this. I also like the outsole. One bone that I might pick is that Durabuck on the ankle collar, at least what feels like Durabuck. Don't love that, but it's a very small amount. I'll give them a pass. Everything else in terms of materials, I think it's really nice. Comfort-wise, if you can get through that initial very tight and snug feeling, I think everything else is very comfortable. Your ankles feel very well protected. The materials inside are soft, so the padding inside, very snug, just the way I like it. And the Azumi insole, I think, is very, very comfortable. The only thing that people might have a problem with is how heavy it is, but I don't really mind a heavy shoe, especially if it's casual. I do like feeling like I'm wearing shoes. There are some shoes now that are so light, I just feel like I'm wearing bare feet. Don't really love that. I like some weight to my shoes, maybe not this heavy, but generally I don't mind it. In terms of versatility, especially through a lens of 2023, a shoe is not that versatile. I think this silhouette itself, it's too bulky, it's too clunky for like most casual uses for most people. I like it, but if I'm being objective, it's not the most versatile silhouette nowadays. It's just still a very, very athletic and basketball looking shoe. Now in terms of the colorway, I think it's still very versatile. Maybe the graffiti is a bit too much for some people, but majority white sneaker with hints of red and black. And even the graffiti, it's done in white, it's not like pink or purple graffiti, so I think the color is very versatile. The silhouette, maybe not so much. In terms of storytelling, I think the graffiti as well as the words on the inside of the tongue, it's mainly where the storytelling lies. It does kind of have ties to New York City, especially compared to other general releases. I think the storytelling is pretty well done. This shoe really feels like a full circle moment. Half the things I buy nowadays are things I couldn't afford when I was a kid. It's a bunch of useless stuff. And finally getting this shoe in a very, very, very roundabout way feels like I did okay in life, at least up until now. I did okay enough that I was able to get this shoe that I always thought was unattainable. So that's it. Thanks for watching Sole Inclined. Let me know what you think of the LeBron 4 graffiti. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes.